the beautiful part of all this is once you decide to make those necessary changes and you just decide to make the necessary, I keep saying it, once you decide to make the necessary changes, you gotta look forward. One and done, Lord, please.
One and done, Lord, please.
Once you decide to make those necessary changes and you start to see some progress, which you will,
You're not very good with scripts.
I'm not.
What's up, guys? We're back with another one. I'm Marique, and this is my beautiful wife,
Nasa.
and we are lapped up tonight because we're in a bit of a tiny house crisis. But anyway, you are here watching part 2 of our debt-free journey series. It is a 3-part series. Part 1, we covered the process of getting out of debt and everything we went through. In today's video, you're going to learn all about the 7 things we learned while we were getting out of debt. And part 3, that'll be coming up this weekend, is all about how life has changed for us being debt-free at age 27.
And if you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and pause right now. You can go to the description below and click on part 1, as well as it's going to be right up top here. You can click on the card up top to go watch it. Now, if you're new to our channel, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit the post notification bell button so that you can know exactly when we upload. And once our part 3 is posted, it will be down in the description as well. Peace.
So I think the biggest thing that I learned during this whole process that you really just have to come to terms with, most people that you know are going to think you are completely insane. Like literally. This could be extremely close friends. This could be even family members. They will think that you've gone mad. And you just have to come to terms with that, right? It's a little bit sad because essentially, debt has been so ingrained into our thinking and into our lifestyle that literally just the boldness of the thought that you can get out of debt makes other people think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, think about that for a second. To even think that you can live without debt, people think you're crazy. But this is why it's very important to plug into the Dave Ramsey community. I'll actually link a lot of the content that we use while we're getting out of debt, like his book. His daughter has some great books on these subjects. I'll put all that down there so you can click through and see what you want. The YouTube channel is phenomenal and it's 100% free. It doesn't cost a penny. But between the YouTube channel, the Facebook groups, the Reddit groups, I mean, there are so many people that are crazy about this plan and crazy about this process. You literally have to like dive into that community and stay around like positive-minded people, like-minded people that are going to support you and push you forward and give you like the stern advice that you might need at a certain time. Like, you have to find that community and really plug into that, because everybody that you know is literally looking at you like you're crazy. They won't understand. Most won't encourage. And I hate to say it, it's just the sad truth. Most people will say things that are actually more discouraging than encouraging. So you have to understand that. You have to embrace that from the very beginning. And then when you finish, just make a great long YouTube video about how you won with the plan. And it's not to spite anybody, but it's literally just to let people know, like, this is possible. This can be done today in 2019, next year in 2020. Like,
it is possible. Yes.
24 months. People don't believe it. You got to understand that when you walk away and they go and sit down and have dinner at their table, they're talking about how you guys are not going to win.
Yeah,
you
y'all
gotta
crazy.
You got to just take that, understand that, and just allow that to motivate and push you forward.
Mm-hmm. Have people say, oh, you'll never get out of debt. Like, debt is not something that you can ever get. I had somebody at my actual job say that to me. Oh, you'll never be able to get out of debt. That's not something that you can do.
Sometimes you didn't even have to say a word. It's just like the way they looked at you. Like, you knew that they were kind of like, giving you that side eye, like, come on, man.
Also, a lot of people said, like, oh, you're missing out on life. Like, you're spending 2 years of your life not even doing, well, at the time it wasn't 2 years, but you're just spending so much time of your life, like, just pushing away, not doing anything, not having any fun, and you're not getting any younger. You need to enjoy life. Don't spend your whole time getting out of debt. But in the grand scheme of things, y'all, 2 years, that's like a toddler, bro. Like,
and we spent a lot of time together, like, like in different creative ways. We did have to be creative, but we still spent time together. It's not like we completely ignored each other for 2 years. And so that's honestly just a decision you're gonna have to make. Like we talked about before, like the intensity level is completely up to you. Like it's your choice, whether or not how hard you want to go. But the harder you go, the faster you get out. And that's one point that we should have mentioned earlier that we forgot to mention. But when we first sat down and did our first budget, we were estimated to take 4 years to complete the same process that we completed in 2.
Yes.
When we first mapped out all the numbers with just our salaries from our primary jobs, which was at the time $35,000 a year for me and $39,000 a year for her, it was supposed to take us into 2021 to be done.
Yeah.
And we did it from 2017 to 2019. That's how much of an impact being strategic around extra jobs and the timing and the scheduling and, making them as lucrative as possible. That's the difference that had on our real numbers that we really sat down and put on paper.
Yes.
And everybody has the choices to make their own decision, obviously, right? But if this is something you want to do, like, do it. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't.
Yep. And then something that I learned, you know how a lot of people say, like, oh, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. Like, as a teacher, that's something I tell my students, but that was not actually something that you, like, think of in real life. You just think it's like a nice thing to say and it is what it is. But, like, doing this, it was like, yo, if you want to do something, you can just work. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's that job that you're looking for, go for it. You can do it. If it's a weight loss journey, if it's a debt-free journey, like whatever it is that you're pursuing, go for it, because you can and will accomplish it if you put your mind to it and put the hard work behind it. That was the biggest thing I learned out of all of this, was that whatever it is we want to do, we can do it. Point blank, period.
So I know we're only part of the way through this video so far, but if you've gotten any value out of this content so far, be sure to leave a like down below, hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions so far, go ahead and drop your questions down in the comments right now before you forget, because we still got to cover the other portion.
Yes.
Yeah, another thing I learned is that you're gonna have to make sacrifices. We talked about some of the quality time that we sacrificed, but we also talked about ways that we compensated for it. But there was also some family events that I missed. I remember there was a big family trip that all of, our family was taken to Colorado for my sister's 30th birthday. And we were living in Florida at the time. We were knee deep in this, had a million jobs, pretty tough to get the time off, had a rhythm going with, how we were paying these things off. And we just had to say, look, guys, like, this is just not a good time for us. Now we can do it, whenever. We can do what we want when we want, for the most part. So The sacrifices, you'll definitely have to make decisions. Not saying you have to say no to everything, but again, it just, the speed with which you do this is completely dependent upon you and the choices you make, in this process.
Yes, and a lot of us staying motivated had to do with our mindset and saying that, like, we have to treat it like we're actually broke. Because if we get out of the mindset of that, oh, we like can work and fund this trip, or oh, we can work, and we would get off that rhythm and we would be like, oh, okay, well, we could just take a little break, and who knows how long that break would actually be. So we have to stay focused, stay in the mindset, okay, we're broke. Broke people can't just get up and take a trip halfway across the country for a couple days and come back and jump into their lives to try to get out of debt. Like, if you're broke, you can't afford none of that stuff. So you gonna buckle down, get what it is you gotta get done, and then you'll be able to move forward. Like, it was just a mindset we had to stay in to make sure we finished pushing along as hard as we did.
Absolutely.
And on the fun side, one of the things that I learned about this, really, I feel like a lot of the things I learned was like mostly about myself, but I learned that we can be in healthy competition. Like, I feel like it was like, if I got a job, he was like, oh, I'm about to get a job and like make some more money to pay off debt. I mean, we were literally going towards the same goal, but like that healthy competition, like, kept us going. It was like, oh, so you got this
bring
job,
home the most cash tonight.
Yeah, oh, I'm delivering pizzas tonight, I'm gonna bring in more cash than you at your PF Change job or you at your Copeland's job. And it was just like, okay, like, who's bringing more in? And like, we're both contributing to the same debt. Like, we literally, it was not my debt and your debt. Everything was put together and we were tackling everything all together. So it's like,
yeah, we have one bank account, and we have pretty much since we came into marriage with 2 bank accounts, but ever since
we moved to Florida,
we went down to 1.
Yep. And the last thing that I learned while we were going through this journey is going to be self-care, which I know from the sound of it, everything we talked about was like, oh, work as hard as you can, push through, fight, drive, all this. But what I'm going to say is, throughout this process, I used to always think people who said, oh, you need to take care of yourself, like, self-care is so important. I used to always think, oh, they just doing too much. Like, they don't really, like, it's not that important. Like, it's nice, but it's not something that you absolutely need. And let me tell you, about halfway through, maybe a little bit more, once we got closer to the end, I actually had a couple of like mental breakdowns, like in my classroom, like in front of my students. Like, I was like going through it because I had put so much on myself and never gave myself an actual break. And I had to learn, like, listen, you can go as hard as you can. You could actually probably even go harder if you just took a day out of the month and just gave yourself some me time, which is what I had to learn. I had to learn, like, listen, you need to go ahead and stop everything, get a sub for a day, tell them you're not coming into the job, the server job or whatever job it is, and just be like, I'm just gonna take a day off and like be with myself and like take care of my mental state. A wise person told me, you cannot pour out of your cup if it's empty. There's nothing to pour if your cup is empty.